So I got into, I want to say I did 10 weeks of treatment. Rough. It was rough. It was very rough. I had to have a PICC line in my arm, which was not fun. It was this IV tube that stays in there and it's gross, and I had to flush it out and all this weird stuff. But I had to have that because the medicine that I was receiving had to go intravenously, and my veins started scarring so much that they wouldn't take an IV. So I had to have a permanent one put into my arm. And I did not like that part at all. I would have to say that was when I felt like I might want to complain a little. But it wasn't so bad. I had made a lot of awesome friends in my community who, again, blew my mind with what God was giving me. And I'll tell more about them later, but one of the things that I was reflecting on after I made it through those 11 weeks, I started to feel, again, the pressure of, okay, how am I going to finance this? What's going to happen? And on a Friday night, I went to not Best Buy, but Bed Bath & Beyond, because I had to get a filter for my vacuum. And as I was checking out, I told the lady in the line about, why I was here in Orlando and what I was doing, and this vacuum was great, and just talking to people because I always wanted to do that. And she did something that surprised me. She came from behind the counter and she wrapped her arms around me and she just hugged me for like 10 seconds, and she just held me and she said, it's gonna be okay, you've been through a lot. And I don't know if she just knew that I needed that or what it was, but it's like God sends these angels all along the way, just when you start to feel like you're gonna fall, and they lift you up. And God tells us we can call on angels, but I'm thinking that someone else was calling on angels on my behalf. So thank you, whoever did that. And after that, I knew something was going to happen soon. I knew that, God was going to show me. And that was a Friday night, and the next morning, my mom called, and she was crying. I could barely understand what she was saying. And she said, did you know who I got an email from, or I talked to her? I can't remember exactly how she said it. And she said, I talked to Jennifer Beard, and she said they've started to organize a fundraiser for you. And I said, what? And she said, there's already a lot of people involved, and they've started a fundraiser for you to help you with your treatment. And they've already started it. And she said that they're going to have music, and it'll be so families can come, and they want to be able to raise money to help you. And I was blown away. I mean, I love Jennifer Beard. I've always loved her. I just haven't seen her in so long. And then my mom started telling me all the other girls, and Jessica and Liz Dorsey and Liz Benson and Ginger, who apparently started the whole thing. And I'm thinking, these were my girlfriends when I was so young, and we were fighters, and we all fought together, and we all worked hard. And I know that these girls are just like warriors, and how special that they are the people who now are fighting for me and making this so I can live, and making I don't even know that they know what they're doing. This is just the kind of people that they are, but it really, really matters. And it's ironic because everyone was always so perplexed that I was in such bad health, but I was still able to move and walk. And I would tell people constantly that, well, it was because of my dance and my cheer background. I stretch all the time. And because I stretch all the time, I stay alive. And I would say, being a dancer and a cheerleader has kept me alive. Well, I didn't realize that it would keeping on my life because of the people that I was with when I was dancing and cheerleading. Because they're now saving my life. So it's not just stretching, but it's God stretching his arms around all of us to make it okay. And I'm so grateful. But where my treatment stands currently is I have gone through 11 full weeks of detox therapy, which is 3 days a week, and it takes usually about 6 hours a day. depending on how my veins are holding up, to get my infusions. And they're infusions that will strengthen my body because my stomach doesn't process vitamins and minerals the way it should. So I have severe malnutrition, and with CIRS, chronic inflammatory response syndrome, your body just kind of goes in haywire. And so all of the damage has to be corrected so that you can heal, as well as the Lyme disease that really was the beginning of all this, and then the exposure to toxic mold, which was kind of it was absolutely the straw that broke the camel's back, and those things had to be taken out of the equation in order to look at the damage that was left behind with my body, and then how do we heal that from there. So Dr. Crozier has been through this situation with his own body, and the studies and the research that he's done and the results that he's gotten are unreal. And the fact that he carries the Spirit of God in everything that he does, I knew that this man would be the person who would be able to get me where I needed to be. So with the help of my friends and my God, most importantly, and my doctor and my mother and my grandmother and my best friend and all these wonderful people in this community that I live in, they all take care of me. And my next step will be to start to do something called peptides, which will repair any parasites that I have. It will also repair a lot of the areas of my brain. I have lesions in my brain that really, I feel like it's my biggest problem, and Dr. Crozier does as well. So I have to repair the brain damage that I've had, and that's possible. But it's not easy, but it's possible, and it's not just possible. It's gonna happen because God already told me it's gonna happen. But it's just a matter of time. And so my last meeting with Dr. Crozier, we had gone over some of my blood work, and the good news that I had, that I sort of had a feeling would be the case, was that my Lyme disease was in a dormant state. So yay for that. But the damage that had been done from the Lyme disease and the mold exposure, which, like I said earlier, was together the cumulative term that we use as biotoxins, that damage has to be repaired. And that's not easy to do, but that's something that I know will happen, and I'm just about to start to face that. What that consists of is peptides, which will help to reset the areas of my brain that have been damaged. One of the most horrible symptoms that I have is just this intense feeling of just, I can't even explain it in any other way than just like my body feels electric. And I feel like I'm on heightened alert, and I have tremors, and I just shake all the time because I am toxic. So we have to get the neurotoxicity in my brain to calm down. And some of the areas that have been damaged are what causes that. And it literally is something that I can cope with because I understand it, but it feels absolutely horrible. I feel like my guts are like hooked up to like a blender or something. I don't know really how to explain it. It's just not fun. So I'm ready for that to end. But the peptides are supposed to help with that. It's also supposed to help repair the lining of my stomach because I have gastroparesis, which is a paralyzed stomach. So really I don't process food, and obviously you can't live without food. And then I have issues with adrenal fatigue, where I constantly feel as if I need to run or fight or flee. My body thinks that my life is in danger, even if it's not. I can just be sitting here, in a normal situation, but my body thinks a tiger is running after me. And so those responses have to be changed. And these peptides are excellent, and they're proven to work. So I'll have 3 different types of peptides. And I will be able to do a detox treatment at least once a week. And I also have done hyperbaric oxygen in the past. So I can add some of that in. And that will just help my body to work through all of these problems so that I can get back to where I'm in a state to take more stem cells so that they can start to grow again and I can have life in my body again. So what he wants to do is to do my first set of stem cells halfway through my peptides and then my next set of stem cells at the end of the peptides. And assuming that everything goes as planned, and I have some notes with some more technical terms, but if anybody wants to know about it, I'd be happy to get into it. But it gets pretty complex. But the good news is that I can be who I need to be. I can be 80% of who of myself, and honestly, I don't know that I've ever been that well because this is a genetic problem. It didn't just start. It just started to become so troublesome that it affected my day-to-day life and made me unable to function. But it's something that I was born with, and over time, things break down and things fall apart. But I always say that God has to break your heart so His light can shine through, and that broken pieces make things beautiful. So thank you, all of you beautiful people, broken, loved, and so appreciated. Thank you for letting God use you to save my life and be a part of my story. And I can't wait to see what else God has planned for me. And I can't wait to see how we all get to be a part of this and celebrate and be on one big mission of gratefulness.